Hey, True Believers, England Teen here with another episode of Bad Comic Beatdown. You may have noticed that Marvel is kind of pushing all of their Asian superheroes right now, and this one is going to be about one called Aero. Now, I'm thinking it makes sense that Marvel's pushing their Asian heroes, and why not? They're making movies for the Chinese market, so why not push their Asian heroes to the forefront so they could begin making movies of them? Wouldn't that appeal to the Asian market even more so than, say, a Captain America? You would think so. Anyway, we're going to be taking a look at this young lady right here. Her name is Aero, and she just got her first issue of a comic book out. This is an episode of Bad Comic Beatdown. It was commissioned by Chrononaut. I'd like to thank him for doing that. And you can commission your own video by going over to Ko-Fi. Links in the description below. Picking from any of these categories. Any character, any object, any villain, any team, any list, whatever you like, I will do. I've been having a great time doing these because I'm pulled away from what I would normally do into learning about sometimes new characters for even me. And considering how YouTube's been treating the smaller creators, how they've been shadow banning, by all means, this is a great way to support the channel and have me work for the money. And I'm very happy to do that. With all that aside, though, let's get started. This is a Bad Comic Beatdown of Aero number 1. As always, we start with a cover, and there's a lot to unpack. First of all, we are definitely going for a manga style here. Not a big fan of manga. Not that I just haven't read a lot, and what I have didn't really appeal. God bless to those who do. Not saying anything bad about it. It's just, sometimes some people, it's just not their cup of tea. So anyway, the first thing that pops out to me isn't Aero, even though she's the central figure. I mean, she's smack dab right in the center of the cover where she should be. But what is going on in the top left corner with this flounder-looking face? There's no depth to it. The mouth actually stops. There's no opening to it. So everything is on one side of the face. This is a flounder. The eye, I guess they're trying to give it an Asian inspired, but it just looks weird, and that big light in the middle of it doesn't fit. But what really gets me is the nose. It looks like a Sith. Not like a Sith Lord, Star Wars fans. It's an actual farming tool. Wow. Not a good look here. Aero herself is actually pretty decent, I guess. The art's not horrible. Obviously, she's wearing the boob sock costume that doesn't really act like fabric, because fabric would not go under the boob. It would go down a bit, so like a slope rather. This is definitely 1990s boob sock going on. But what really gets me are the Liefeld feet. But not just that. But if you look at her right knee, it looks like it's bending in the wrong direction. That's what really got me on this one. Everything else actually looks okay except for the boob sock thing as far as Aero is concerned, except for her knee is bent in the wrong direction. What's up with that? And then, of course, we get the villain, which is the rock guy wearing pants, which I think rock guys should wear pants. That's hashtag rock guy wear pants. So the credits page is a little bit weird because it says it's written by Zhou Liefen, but it's actually adapted by Greg Pak. He's got his own story in here, so don't worry. He's represented. Anyway, let's move on. Welcome to Shanghai, the biggest and most stunning city in the world. Of course I'm biased, because I helped build it. My name is Li Ling. I'm an architect. If you want something beautiful, you call me. But sometimes, the people of this city call me by a different name. Aero. With the power of the wind, I protect Shanghai. Yeah, if you're going to write it like a noir, I'm going to read it like a noir. It's just the rules, man. I'll do anything my city needs, but today's a bit strange. I'm used to building skyscrapers, not tearing them down. And, of course, we're seeing absolutely nothing. They love those wind swirls, but what's going on? You can't tell anything. Is this supposed to be mimicking anime art or manga art or something? It's just nonsensical. And we see that she's actually fighting a giant building. But this isn't a building anymore, is it? I actually designed this one. It was nearly done, about to open, but someone transformed it. turned it into a monstrous giant. And I'm sorry to beat a dead horse, but the art is so stylized, so anime-like, that you can't really tell what you're looking at. And now I'm furious. This building was supposed to be a home, designed to catch the light just so, to please the eye and heart, to keep families warm and safe. You know what? I finally figured it out. It looks like one of those books where they take a scene from a movie or a cartoon and they just have like the word bubbles to make a new story. That's what they're trying to go for here, right? So it looks like a cartoon. But no one will ever live inside it now. All its windows shattered, its rooms twisted and ruined. Now, its only form and function is to kill. Anyone else kind of getting a GoBots feel from this big monster? Not like Transformers, but the Kmart knockoff version of Transformers called the GoBots? I've been playing defense. While I've run air currents throughout its interior, making sure no one's trapped inside. All clear, so I guess it blasts it because buildings that come to life can shoot big energy beams for some reason. Okay, we need to hurry this along. So at this point, she's saying, well, I built the building. I remember picking the concrete. Now let it fall, blah, blah, yada, yada. And then she blasts it hard enough to destroy it. But that's not the weird thing, or at least that's not what really bothers me about this. Let me show you the next page. Cutting to 3 months ago, and we see she's just sitting down, and it's only like 1, 2, 3, 4 thought boxes. They left the gorilla in the phone booth. I mean, she's fighting a big building in the street. They're like, hey, let's cut to her in the office without giving any information as to why we're cutting into the office. The weird thing, and probably the worst thing about this book, is there's no character. We've only learned that she can fly, that she can blow air, and that she's an architect. That's it. And now I've got to talk about the art as well, because if you look at that second panel, what the hell is going on with her eyes? Now, I understand big eyes and anime and everything, but it just looks weird on paper. I'm like, seriously weird. I guess if you're going for one of those cartoonish animes where they're like, oh my gosh, big America party, then okay, maybe the big eyes. But just looking at a freaking phone, it's just, it's unnerving. This is a good call for a bad comic beatdown because this is not good. So she realizes she's late and looks down and says, oh my gosh, it's rush hour, which when I was in Shanghai, most of it was rush hour, and she's pondering whether or not she could fly, which is weird for us because we've already seen her do it in the future. And then she kind of jumps or free falls. My blood's pounding, my heart's in my throat, but this isn't fear. Could it be because you could fly? She goes, this is joy. I dreamed of flying every night when I was a girl, and then one day I actually flew. I didn't know how, but I could control the flow of air just by thinking about it, so now I don't just help build this city, I live and breathe it. Then you got the lung capacity of a 6-pack a day smoker. And then we learn that she's a millennial because she passes by a Stark Industries sign, sees Iron Man. She's like, oh my gosh, and there's other people who are very famous. They're just like me. They're superheroes. But because they're famous, their loved ones are always in danger, and that's not going to happen to me because reasons. Okay, to be fair, every generation thinks they're smarter than the one that comes before them, and they don't realize that the reason why a lot of adults are cynical is because they've got experience. Not quite sure what they wanted to accomplish with these last couple of pages, because basically it's showing she's overconfident. Maybe that's it, because even as she's going in, I've got love, I've got family, I can do anything I want when I'm up in the air, and I'm on time. All right, I have a question for those of you who really read manga or watch anime. There's 13 words on this page of her walking into a hotel to see her boyfriend. So all the new information we get is that she has a boyfriend, and by the art we learn that her left boob is smaller than her right boob. There's not much here. Are anime and manga always this sparse with information? Anyway, let's move on. And we do cut to now as the building has fallen, and we do see there's damage to the city. Got to give it that much. And she says, what could possibly go wrong? I told you I could do it. I found its weak spots, and I tore it to pieces. Whoever did this can't beat me this way. Won't beat me this way. I just demonetized and caused somebody to copyright this thing right away. So she feels bad because her building was beautiful and it got knocked down. She's not exactly showing any caring for the people that may have been crushed by a building falling and a building running around, hitting things. There's going to be a lot of damage here, girls. Show some concern. Of course, she's like, oh, we could clean up, and then 2 more buildings appear. So she figures she could take these buildings down the same way, and I would assume that she would do a little cursory check with a wind through these buildings to see if anybody's okay. Not that she's checked the surrounding area or anything. Look, there's not been a lot of character shown to us in the last 20 pages, but what character we have got shows us that she's very self-centered. She notices something wrong with the air and she asks, "What are you?" For a split second, my mind locks up. I can't process what I'm looking at. A city descending from the sky. The towers pointing downward. And apparently the government had been alerted a long time ago because they've already got jets in the air. Anyway, Aero cries out to the jet planes, "This is Aero, you've got to turn back." And instead of yelling, "Look, we're going to arrest you, we're military, we don't take our orders from you, who the hell do you think you are, get back while we take care of business," they say, "You handle the debris, we're going to stop this from crushing the city." I'm kind of paraphrasing just for time. But then they realize that it's not a city. It's a living thing, a massive breathing horror a mile wide. And we see the jets blow up against it. "Oh, Li Ling, you said you could do anything. Now it's time to prove it." Now, I do kind of like the eye in the top panel. That looks cool. So I'm not going to go page by page for this last bit. This is the Greg Pak story. This has nothing to do with what happens during the book we just read. As a matter of fact, it happens right after the War of Realms. It happens right after Agents of Atlas. And it's not even about Aero. It's about this character, the Wave. She's not included in the award ceremony that they've got going on. And so Aero's going, "Hey, wait a second, why?" And so she goes and finds her, and she's talking to her, says, "Oh, they wouldn't give it to me anyway because there's a superhero team. I forgot their name. They're going to come up in just a bit. The leader doesn't like me." And she asks why, and so we get the story of her. And that's the weird thing. We get more information in what ends up being 10 pages of a Wave story than we do in, 20-something pages worth of Aero. The main book gives us nothing on the main character, but the Wave is fully developed in 10 pages. We get an actual character to care for. We get motivations. We get a backstory. We find out that she was wronged, so that's why she wants to do right. There's just so much more to this. If this were the book, I would be recommending it. If this last 10 pages were the book, this would not even fit in a bad comic beatdown. Unfortunately, what we get here actually shines a big spotlight on why the first 20 pages needed to be torn apart. So there you go, guys. That's my bad comic beatdown on Aero. What did you think? Am I wrong to include it here? I mean, yes, it was a commissioned book, but should it not have been a bad comic beatdown? Did you read this and go, "Holy crap, that's the best thing ever"? If so, show your work, sir. Tell me why in the comments below. Also, if you would like to see more bad comic beatdowns, there is a playlist that's going to be linked in the description here, as well as, hey, you could go on over to Ko-Fi. Links also in the description. And you can commission your own video, not just for bad comic beatdown, but for comic book origins, for really that goods, really that bads, top 10s, all sorts of categories. You get to pick the character, the object, the team, the villains, whatever you think. It would be really, really cool. Don't forget to click like and share and subscribe so you don't miss any of that kind of stuff, and ring that bell. Make sure you're getting notifications so you don't miss the next bad comic beatdown. I'd like to thank everybody who's already done that, and to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.